Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my breakdown of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you're new to my channel, I just got to ask you one simple question. Do you want to talk football? Because if so, you're in the right place. There's this button right around here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, I break down these videos offering my opinion, but ultimately, I want to hear from you because you are what's important, not me, not my opinion. Now, here's how the video is going to break down. I'm going to talk about what I like about the Arizona Cardinals. Then I'm going to talk about what I don't like. But stick around to the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if I am going to put action down on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, let's talk about what I like about the Arizona Cardinals. Let's start off with the obvious, and that's the trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, you get a top 5 wide receiver added to this already pretty good skill position group here. You got Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, and I was really high on Christian Kirk, so putting these guys together, late season addition to Kenyon Drake also really helped out. But I mean, you basically, the name I'm leaving off is David Johnson because you went ahead and he was on the bench, and then you used that and a second round pick to get a top 5 wide receiver. Huge win this offseason for the Arizona Cardinals. The second thing that I really like is the draft. You already traded for DeAndre Hopkins. Now you give up a second round draft pick. Normally that's terrible, but not in this case. I mean, the 6 players that you drafted, all 6 of these players were value was higher than where they was drafted, starting with Isaiah Simmons. I had him going to Detroit at 3, and almost everybody was thinking that if he gets past Detroit, he's going to the Giants at 4. I didn't think he was going to go to the Giants at 4, but a lot of mock drafts did, but no mock draft I can think of had Isaiah Simmons sliding all the way to 8. There was a few, but to say Isaiah Simmons dropped all the way to 8, yeah. Then I literally went through thousands of mock drafts, and almost universally, I would say anywhere from 95 to 98% of them had Josh Jones going in the first round. Cardinals get him in round 3. This is a potential day 1 starter on the right side. A lot of people thought he could be a day 1 starter on the left side. Since you signed Humphreys, you're probably putting him on the right side. I'm not going to go through all the draft picks, but I do want to point out they drafted the local kid, Eno Benjamin, in the 7th round. He's going to make the team, and I think he's going to contribute. Huge contributor? Probably not, but he could help on special teams. He makes the team, and he helps this year. Great draft. You already had a great trade. Then you ace the draft. Maybe the best draft in football. It is the best draft if you want to count DeAndre Hopkins. I don't, but, you know. Third thing I really like is the free agent front 7 help. Now, before you go to the draft, you traded for Hopkins, but you didn't stop there. You made one great move. Then in free agency, you get the massive Jordan Phillips. This really helps. You get Devin Kennard, a run stuffer who also adds some size. Put him opposite of Chandler Jones. That's going to help. And then you also get Devontae Campbell with Isaiah Simmons. You probably have 4 new starters on that front 7. You had the worst defense in football yardage-wise, 28th in points, 32, dead last in yardage. So you got to redo that front 7. That's exactly what they did. The number one thing I like is that if nothing else, you added size to that front 7. You're in the NFC West. You got 3 teams that really want to run the ball. So you got to add some size. You already have a premier pass rusher in Chandler Jones, so you have some size and run stuffing ability. I really thought that was a great move combined with the trade and the draft. And fourth and final thing I like about the Arizona Cardinals, and I got to eat some crow, is because I thought Kyler Murray was going to be a disaster. For those of you who don't remember, it was about 3 months before the draft, he was still saying he's going to play baseball. And I was like, man, your heart can't just be halfway into it. If you really want to play baseball, because football is not something that you can just go, it's my backup plan. Dude, Kyler Murray was much better than I was expecting. 3,722 yards plus 544 yards rushing. Wow. But forget the numbers. Watch him play. The game's not too big for him. The arm talent is there. The arm talent is quite exceptional. I mean, this is a guy, he might be the fastest player on the field, but he has excellent arm talent, and he didn't run as much as I like. They're not using him on direct snaps like some people in Buffalo are, and I'll get on that when I talk about the Bills. But this is a kid who I really, really was very impressed, and I got to eat some crow because I thought this was going to be a disaster. No, he looks like the real deal. Now, keep in mind, only the rookie season, but he looked really, really good as a rookie. I was very impressed, and I got to eat some crow. So basically, just to recap, the four things I absolutely love about the Cardinals going into 2020. Number one, the trade for Hopkins. Number two, you absolutely aced the draft. Maybe the best draft of any team in the league. Number three, the free agent front seven help. If you add Simmons, you might have 4 new starters. Really upgraded the front seven. And then finally, the Kyler Murray hype is real. So let's talk about what I don't like about the Arizona Cardinals. First thing about the Arizona Cardinals I don't like is the hype. I don't like the hype around the team, but specifically Kyler Murray. Just a few hours ago, I was seeing another social media pick. This one was on Twitter for Kyler Murray being MVP. I've seen multiple people saying that Kyler Murray is going to be an NFL MVP. Do you remember how overhyped the Browns were last year? Do you remember I kept on hearing 12 wins. They're gonna win. Was it the AFC North? Yeah, that's right, the AFC North. There's a playoff team. Maybe they're a dark horse. And I kept on saying slow down. And I feel like I got to do the same thing for the Cardinals. This team is really overhyped, and Kyler Murray MVP talk really needs to slow down. There's a lot of things to like about Kyler Murray. If you don't think that he's a very large work in progress, I think you need to slow down. The MVP talk, by the way, if you want to disagree with me, if you put action on Kyler Murray to win MVP, I'd love to see the bet slip. I'm more than happy to eat some crow, but this is just, I think that he's still a work in progress. I'd feel a lot better if I heard Kyler Murray MVP in 2021 if he showed improvement. But this guy really needs to show a lot of improvement before you get to MVP status. Second thing I don't like about the Arizona Cardinals is this was a terrible defense, 28th in points, 32nd in yards. The passing defense, 4,510 yards. They gave up 38 touchdowns, got 7 interceptions. Oh, Lord, that is bad. Only Detroit gave up more passing yardage. And then here's the thing. Against the run, they gave up 1,990 yards, 5 yards a carry. So it didn't matter whether it was through the ground or through air. This defense was bad, really bad. Yes, they got some free agency help, especially in the front seven. The secondary was very young. And they also drafted Isaiah Simmons, who's going to be a day one starter. So, yeah, they did help. But here's the deal. Are you going from 32nd in yards to 24th? 22nd? Because they need to make a huge jump. Former Broncos head coach Vance Joseph, who's the defensive coordinator, he needs to do much better. I like the fact that you kept him around for another year, keeps some continuity, and I do think he's a decent defensive coordinator, but he has to do a lot better. When you're 32nd in yards, 28th in points, you have to make a huge improvement in order for this team to be competitive, which brings up to my third point, is that this is the wrong division, and bottom line, the NFC West is brutal. You had the 49ers, which of course went to the Super Bowl, the Seahawks, which won a playoff game, and the Rams, under this format in 2020, they would have made the playoffs. You have 3 teams with winning records in the NFC West, and you have a 5-win Cardinals team. The Cardinals, I really feel like did everything right. They are going to be better, but keep in mind, they were in the cellar by 4 games last year. Well, 3.5. Sorry, I forgot about the tie, but did they do enough to go from 5-10-1 to maybe 8-8, maybe 9-7 to compete to get out of the cellar? It's really, really questionable. This is a tough division. All 3 of these teams are looking at playoff berths. I think unrealistic Cardinals fans are saying they're a playoff team, but that's really not the case. This really isn't a playoff team. They're going to be a fun team though, and I'm really looking forward to watching them, but this is a tough division for them to be in. All right, So what I say, wait till the end. Let's talk about the Vegas over-under. And the over-under is 7. Okay. The line is good. I agree with that. Now, the over is negative 135. Lots of action on the over. This is an over line that could jump up to 7.5, but I doubt it. Right now, it's negative 135. So a $135 wager will win you 100. The under is plus 115. So if you want to go under, a $100 wager will win you 115. Now, me personally, I am going to avoid the Cardinals because, number one, I hate negative 135. It's a really high number. I usually avoid numbers that high in general. And the schedule is beneficial. I think 7's a good number. I actually think they're a 7-8 win team, maybe 9 if the defense really steps up the standards. But the thing that really scares me is that in this division, I still think they're the worst team in the division. Now, are you going to tell me the Rams are worse? You can argue that with me, but what are you looking at win-wise in this division? I'm looking at 2. 2, I think, is the ceiling, and I also think 2 is realistic. They can go 2-4 in this division, so in order to hit 7, you got to go 5-5. I think there's a lot of question marks on this team. I'm still not completely sold, and I think this team, you need to see Kyler Murray have some consistent improvement before I really jump on board. Out of all teams I've done so far, I think the Cardinals are the one I would really avoid putting action on the most, because I would take the over. I would take the over by like this much, but negative 135 is a bad number. Now, if you do want to take the under, that's actually fair. You're looking at a 6-10 team, which is realistic. I mean, it very easily could happen, but keep in mind, I think the defense is going to get better. A combination of youth and free agency and a full year that Patrick Peterson's going to be in that secondary is really going to help out, and the schedule is beneficial to the Cardinals. So I would take the over if I had to, but I would avoid negative 135. If you do take the under, I'd love to hear from you, because I could get on board with that. Plus 115 for a team that could go 6-10 pretty easily. So, hey, that's my opinion. Again, I make this video so we can start a conversation. My opinion is not important. Yours is, so please drop a comment below, or just simply email me at the Dan Show at yahoo.com. Now, listen, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and tomorrow I will be breaking down the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, hey, I will see you tomorrow.